Hey everybody, welcome to day 6 of the Summer Scrapping Series. I really hope you're enjoying this series. Thank you so much for all your comments and everything so far. I appreciate it. Today's guest is Tara McLean, and Tara has a fantastic style. I'm such a huge fan of her work. I think she's relatively new to YouTube videos, so you should go check out her channel and give her some support, but she creates amazing pages. So I wanted to show you these photos first because I printed these two photos side by side, and it looks like it's one continuous photo, but they were taken at two separate times. And it's just the way that I had them printed out next to each other that it looks like the kids are actually, like, this is one moment, but it was two different moments. So when they printed out like this, I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep them just like this because it looks kind of cool. But I was pointing out there in each of the pictures, I mean, the horizon line lines up, there's a wave at the exact same moment, and the seaweed kind of looks like it's going like across the page too. It's just so weird how it printed out exactly the same. I was showing you some of the like rocks, the same rocks in each picture, so that you could tell that it was two different pictures at two different times. But anyway, so I am using a piece of paper I dug out from my stash. This is a super old Studio Calico paper from a collection called Heyday, which I don't really think was very popular. But of course I bought it, so yeah, it's in my stash. Maybe it was, I don't know. But it's not one I really remember very well. And hey, look how fast that was, because I forgot to hit record when I started doing my mixed media, so you only catch me doing a little bit in the background here. But I have used some teal, some seafoam and navy Heidi Swap Color Shine. And I just use the packaging technique and a few splatters, and voila. It happens that fast too, not really. So I thought I would kind of go with this beach theme here, and whenever I think of the beach, I always think of seagulls, and I really wanted these simple bird shapes, and I couldn't find a cut file with them from like a cut file store, so I just went on to like Google and typed in seagull silhouette, and I found this PNG of the seagull silhouette, and I used that as my cut file for these little seagulls, which I just love them. And then I thought a nice contrast to this, and just something that kind of makes me think of like a beachy theme, is craft cardstock. So I actually think this is a basil shade of craft. They actually have a couple of shades of craft cardstock. There's one that's called straw, one that's actually called craft, and I'm pretty sure that this one is called beach. So it almost looks, it's a little darker than regular craft, and it has some kind of like a little bit of, I don't want to say texture, but a little bit of pattern to it. So I laid those elements out, and I printed 3 elements because I really figured that that is what, kind of created my visual triangle, having a tab at the top, the title at the bottom, and then the anchor somewhere on my page. So I stepped away for a little bit from this page, and then I came back to it, and I thought, I want to, I think, make a circle behind it. And I don't know where this idea came from. I thought perhaps maybe like bringing in some twine, another natural element, kind of, I don't know, I was just thinking of like a beach or ocean with like ropes around an anchor. So I thought I would bring in some twine. This is just plain old kind of jute twine, and I am using my little, is it We Are Memory Keepers Staple Anywhere stapler, what you can staple anywhere in the page. So it's a magnetic thingy, and there's a base that goes underneath, and this little magnetic thing. I keep hitting my camera. I'm sorry, because I'm trying to lean over to make sure that it's lining up right and to put some pressure on the stapler, and so my head keeps banging to my camera. But anyway, I was lining up the, you line up the top magnetic piece and to the bottom, and then it just provides you a place to staple, and the stapler is magnetic. The stapler itself is magnetic, and there's 3 different size staples, so it's really a handy tool. I really like it. So I decided to also whip out a little bit of Fabric Fuse liquid glue as well. That's from ThermoWeb, and that really helps any kind of fabric-y type of thing stick. Ribbon, twine, actual fabric. So I like to use that a lot, and it dries pretty quickly, and it's, like I said, it's specifically made for fabrics and textiles like that, and it's so weird how that adhesive like sticks so specifically to a fibrous type of material. But so I am just going around, I'm kind of adding some staples around the edge here. I'm trying to get it in as good of a circle shape as I can, and I don't mind if some of the strings are loose. The staples, I have to say, do not staple completely flat and tight against the page. So I am actually able to thread the end of the twine, as you can see here, underneath the staples I have already stapled, which was actually kind of easier, but I don't know. So I don't know if this would, I mean, it would secure something to a page, but if you have something like going underneath a staple, like thread like this, it might come out. So I'm glad I used a little bit of the fabric glue. And I cut it just about, the right size, so length rather, and to go around about 3 whole turns. So that was kind of nice. I end up losing like a lot of, well, not losing it, but it gets a little lost in all the embellishments I do on the page, but that's okay. I like the hint of it there in the background. So now I am going to try to just look for some different patterns to go behind my photo. I felt that this aqua was a little bit too dark. I really love the background. It gets covered up a lot, but but there's like some little peaks of it coming out from the sides. I just decided to go with a color that kind of blends in with the background, but it has a little bit of pattern to make it stand out just a tiny bit. So it's not a very big difference from the background, but just subtle enough to pop the photos off a little bit more. This collection I'm using now is, by the way, the papers and the embellishments are from a basic gray collection. It's called Adrift. It's a very, very pretty nautical theme. It has like this dark navy and this aqua, kind of this orangey red, and then this kind of like a mustard yellow, and it's just super, super pretty. I was really kind of struggling if I wanted to go with this color scheme or if I wanted to do something more along with like pinks and a moss green and a bright sunshiny yellow and the, like a dark pink and a light pink, kind of like a simple stories line. But I ended up going with this, and I'm really happy I did because I loved all the little embellishments and die cuts in here. So I'm just going through the die cut pack and, picking out, playing around with some of the shapes, and this layout is very, very simple for me, and it's very traditional, and I don't, I think it's traditional. I don't do a lot of large photos like this. I mean, these are almost 4x6 photos, and if I use a 4x6 photo, it's usually only one photo, so I hardly ever do 2 4x6 photos. I like to have space on my page to create and get kind of artsy, so I don't use a lot of photos on my page, and sometimes one photo tells enough of the story for me, so I do a lot of one photo pages. But yeah, so this was really different, me going and using 2 large photos like this. So I kind of sketched out this design ahead of time, and I knew I was just going to do a little cluster at the top with some tabs, and a little cluster at the bottom with some embellishments, and then a simple title on the bottom, and that's about it. And like I said, kind of simple, but then when you start to add in things like, a little bit of a mixed media background, some die cuts, and, lots of different layers, I think it does start to get a little bit more, I don't know, complicated? I don't know if that's the word, but anywho, I enjoy doing this page for a change because I don't really do pages like this that often. So I have found a couple pieces of washi tape. Some of them came from this collection, and others just came from my stash, like this blue one I'm using right here. And those kind of brads and little, what are they called? Yeah, brads down there to the left with the anchors and the starfish. Oh my gosh, they are so cute, and the little gold seashells. Absolutely perfect. Actually, those are what inspired me to use this collection because I saw them sitting in the bag with the stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's the one I gotta use. So I'm just going to layer a couple different things. The one of the die cuts on the bottom of the photos there is actually a little transparency, and so I have a couple things poking out from behind there, which I like. You can see not from behind, but underneath it. And those banner stickers, they have kind of they're printed with like 2 little holes at the top to make it look like, a string goes through it or something. So I am actually going to thread some of the twine through it here in a little bit. I thought I put those little triangles there to kind of make it look like it was hanging on that twine, so I liked how I had them there. This font, by the way, for the word beachcombers is, I think it's called like Shoreline or something, which, I mean, this is one I just had in my collection of fonts, and it was a free font. So if you go to any free font website, I'm sure that you can find it. It's a really pretty, kind of skinny, sketchy font, and I just used that and cut it out with my Silhouette. The anchor is from Silhouette Studio, as was the tab cut file too. So here's where I'm going to go through and add the twine through the stickers. And I had used my paper piercer and just poked 2 holes right through the little circles on the sticker and just threaded some twine through. Pretty simple. So these photos are actually from 2 years ago, 2015. And we go to Florida quite often to visit the kids' grandma, my mother-in-law, and we were at Honeymoon Island, and we were hoping it was going to be a nice day, and it wasn't. It was so overcast. It was actually, I won't say it was chilly because I live in the Northeast. I know what chilly is. And it wasn't chilly, but it was not what I was hoping. So another reason I use this collection is because a lot of my other summer collections have sayings like, sunshine, you know, shine bright. I'm like, this was not a sunshiny, shine bright kind of day. So I didn't want to use a collection that was all about being bright and sunshiny because honestly, it wasn't. But that didn't stop us from having fun, you know, searching for all kinds of things, and shells and playing in the sand and yeah. So I went through and glued a whole bunch of stuff down, and I glued some stuff to the photo, and I'm going around the edge and distressing that a little bit. I'm going to glue, so once I had everything like kind of organized like I wanted, I mean, this last part is just kind of gluing it all down, so it went pretty quickly. This little circle here, I just thought it wasn't sticking off the page enough, so I'm going to back it with some pattern paper. And I just, you know, stick it right in the pattern paper, and I just go around with my scissors and kind of follow the shape of the scallop around the edges. And when I'm fussy cutting like this, I tend to hold it close to my body so I can see it closely. So I'm sorry it's not in view all the time when I do that, but I'm holding it closer to my face so I can actually see what I'm doing. When I make videos, I have to, I definitely work differently because I'm trying to work under the camera instead of like working like right under my face. So anywho, so yeah, I'm just gonna go back through, layer these little bits on, and the anchor I was considering popping off the page, but it was so thin and I didn't want to play around with foam dots, so I'm just gonna glue it down and not worry about popping it off the page, which I'm glad I didn't, because instead I'm going to pop off these seagulls. And I just love what these little white seagulls do for this page. Just the touch of white, you know, everything else is pretty colorful, but this touch of white and kind of the flow, and I think it just really makes it really beachy. So, and I'm glad I used these seagull shapes instead of like, there were more like ones that actually looked like a real silhouette of a seagull, but I don't know, I just like these really simple bird shapes. So that is pretty much it for my page. I did add some journaling in the bottom left, and I stamped the date on the tab on the top. And coming up here is my finished page. So I'm really happy with how this came out, and like I said, a little bit different for me with the photo sizes and kind of some simple layering, but I absolutely love it. It's a good change up, and I like to do lots of different things, so fun for me. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Make sure you visit Tara's YouTube channel as well, and have a great day. And stay scrappy, my friends. I will see you soon.